start, maybe you could tell me a bit more about this new exhibition that you guys are participating in, New Ink.
So we were approached
Okay.
by Sophie about this New Ink show, and honestly, I wasn't into having exhibition, but since she put it as this New Ink, then both of us we have been experimenting and trying out new way of approaching the Chinese ink medium. So we're quite enthusiastic, so we're quite open to that. So the way we look at New Ink is that it's like re-looking at an old medium, because Chinese ink has been a tradition for years, thousands of years. Yeah. So within the Singapore context, how do we approach something that's old and to make it seem a bit more contemporary, for this time and age? Yeah. So it's an interesting topic, and it's something that both of us, me and Anthony Chua, has been working all throughout our artistic life.
Anthony, do you like exhibitions? Or what is your view on exhibitions?
I think it's okay lah, because I got a few gallery represent me, so for me it's okay sometimes.
Do you look forward to exhibitions, or is it more
okay lah, of course, because I like to show my new work to the public. See what I have done so far.
Can you explain the nature of your collaboration? How do two artists work together? Do you have separate paintings? Or?
Yeah, separate painting. So each one of us work on our own works. So for this exhibition in particular, so it's like I also use that topic, new ways of making it. So I have 3 slightly different types of painting, slightly different. There's one that is purely, which I play with collage. And then the other one, I have collage, and then together with using these different types of paper. So it gives different effects. And then there's another piece which is much earlier, and I use the idea of masking. And so it looks a bit more like Western art. So 3 different, so this particular exhibition helps in a way that I can show different types of approaches to ink.
Anthony, anything to add about style, about the interpretation?
Actually, my style is a combination of ink painting and watercolor, because I use special technique. I use brushes, frottages, and feather brushes, and whatever materials in my studio, which I feel comfortable to depict local scenery. There's a heritage building, old town, all the Juchit and Katong and Geylang, all this.
So both of us, we have training in NAFA, Nanyang Academy of Fine Arts. For him, he is a Western art major.
Major Western art, but I minor
in
Western
Chinese
art.
ink painting.
So
for me, I'm a major in Chinese ink painting, but I minor in Western art painting. So the way I look at how, especially in Singapore, the way Chinese ink has evolved is where we tend to utilize ideas, approaches from Western art into Chinese ink. So like for him, he's saying all the different materials for touch, for pitch.
For taste.
Then he uses spray, squeeze paint, and all those are strategies that we have learned from Western art. But we apply, for him, he applied onto Chinese ink medium, the material. And then for me, it was like I approached from Chinese ink, traditional Chinese ink painting. The mediums is requirement, is topic. For me, the idea is a sanshui, the landscape painting. But then I kind of turn it around. Instead of making painting on mountain and water, I paint buildings, because I started off from a so-called urban setting, Singapore setting. Right, so that's how we approach Chinese, so-called contemporary Chinese ink or new ink. Right, the way we approach it, it's like we don't really use the traditional content topic, but we inject current concerns, Western art concerns into making the Chinese ink. So material-wise, it looks like traditional Chinese ink, but the approach, the composition, topic actually is more embraces a lot more of Western art. When we first started, that was in 1995, 96, I think. That was when we first started showing our works in public. So I think the main starting point is this belief that there is still a lot more to go with Chinese ink. Actually, even for me, the traditional topic is not something that is old. I always feel that even within traditional topic, that there are possibilities. And if you look around, even for the Chinese artists in China, they approach a traditional topic, but in a very interesting way. Like there's this one about, he used the burning,
burning mark.
It's quite interesting that the overall look, you can see it takes its inspiration from traditional Chinese landscape painting, but the method they do it is innovative. So they don't use the paper, the rice paper, but they use other method. So I think that there are quite a lot of experimentations. And when you look at Western art, in terms of oil painting, there seems to be a certain kind of point, almost saturation point, where oil painting, it's not too sure where it's going. So whereas for Chinese ink painting, I think there's quite a lot of possibilities in the exploration. So that's why we thought that it's worthwhile. And after all, paper is very Asian to some extent. So
I mean, beyond the possibilities, beyond the opportunities, what is it that you like about the Chinese tradition, the Chinese style of painting? Is there a philosophical reason why you keep going back to this new style? You keep feeling that you need to experiment with this?
I think we have to revive it because after the Cultural Revolution, then all those ink painting, they say, oh, you're black artists like Wu Guanzhou, they call them, wow, they are criminal. Then they say your new Gui Se Shen, those like ghosts. So they dare not paint black painting. They say, oh, black painting, criminal. So
for us, we have a benefit of not being in that sort of historical situation.
They say all traditional must go.
For me, the paper, the idea of this Chinese ink tradition, it offers a bit of sort of a identity perhaps, but yet at the same time it's different. So identity is something that we form ourselves, I feel, right? So it's how I negotiate with this thing called Chinese tradition. So I see that like in terms of philosophy and all that, it's quite a lot. I mean, it's like thousands of years of that. But nevertheless, I think that a lot of it is still possible in terms of expression. Like look at people like John Cage. He's not even Chinese, but he used I Ching in his composition of his music. So I like that, and that is something that is very important in my work also, though it's not integral right now. Like he said, chance is a way where on the one hand, because I Ching is about chance, so chance is a way where he can take that individual, the notion of the individual, the person, out of the person. Because for a lot of painting, even modern art, the idea personal style and all that. Whereas for John Cage, he says that we take it out of that. The big ego, the big person, take it out of that, and he used chance to do that. And likewise, I'm also, interestingly, it's a Chinese tradition. You get the Ang Mo to the Westerners to look at it, and then I'm looking at a Westerner doing that, and I see the possibility of me using his idea. And I think that if for a lot of people, let's say maybe mainland China, they might not be able to see that connection, whereas I can, because we have that chance to come in contact with people like people like John Cage, people like some modern artists from the West, and we see how they work with our Chinese tradition, and then in a way we can also draw that back to our own work. So it's the same with my work. So I like to use the idea of chance if possible.
Chinese ink is a very traditional. I suppose there are a lot of rules when it comes to what is and what is not Chinese art. Where do you guys draw the line? Is this Chinese art or not? Or is this even important?
For me, it's easy, very easy, because I use the material. So in a way, I can still argue and say that, well, I use the material of Chinese ink on rice paper, and in a way that I manipulate the surface. I even use traditional the mounting technique, and that's where I incorporate my collage, right? The mounting, the framing technique, and put it into the work. So the material, the method, methodology, it's totally Chinese, traditional Chinese ink, but the content is not. So that's how I can just work around.
In Chinese ink, it's talk about ink and brushwork, 笔墨. That's why you got the ink, the smudging of the tone, and how you apply the brush. It's very different. If a non-Chinese, when they apply, you can see it's a Westerner, they apply the line. It's quite different.
And also, he tend to have a certain way of abstracting, which I think Chinese ink is all like that. It's all about, simplifying something that's very complex and extracting it and putting it into it. And he's definitely like that. Very quick, very very simplified some of the things, and the composition also. I mean, I think he used it without thinking so much.
Yeah.
That's why I say that makes it Chinese, because he's Chinese, It's all that tradition.
It's even a harder role within a tough industry. So, what is your secret, and how do you make it happen?
At first, when we first started as full-time artists, for me at least, I was thinking like, it might be a bit hard. Maybe we can survive for about a few years, and then maybe we go back and teach, that sort of thing. But so far, it's been okay. Because when I look at it, after a while, people might, especially in Singapore, where the collecting sort of culture is a little bit young, right? So people tend to buy one piece only. They don't really collect. So I was thinking, maybe after a while we won't see anybody coming. Yeah. But interestingly, I think the younger, there's another.
Yeah, they'll follow your work development, and then they collect.
We do get to see new collectors every now and then. I think one of the things that we have to work with is the idea of like how much commercialization and your own artistic, pursuit lah. So it's a balance between.
Yeah, not like everything. Everyday selling like that. Why she scold me?
Don't
think of selling. I said that one. I'm happy.
He said, okay, this one. Yes. So. That's not the way the art.
Yeah, but we have to survive. Yeah, you don't sell. Yeah, also problem.
So how do you draw the line? How do you draw the line?
So that's why for me it's very very.
Yeah, for her.
Clear cut. I tell you,
very good.
It's about the art.
Yeah, don't sell. Never mind. I produce.
Really, I mean, it's like. Main thing is have to produce good work, right? Then the selling part will take care of itself. Really, that's why I told him you don't need to keep thinking about is this going to sell? No, that's not. That shouldn't be the criteria. The criteria should be what is good art. What's that? Yeah. What is it that I'm trying to do, and whether I've achieved it, and that's more important. So I have gone down the line where it's almost like an assembly line, honestly. Like there's some orders, and initially when I started as a full-time artist, there's always that uncertainty. So okay, you take on, and I do take on commissions. Sometimes it's really like, even with commission work, I feel that as long as they give me a bit of artistic freedom, I can still do a little bit, something that I like. But there are also different galleries at different ways of operating. So some galleries actually just order in bulk, and that's where it becomes problematic. So for me, I think that is something that I will try not to go again. That sort of more commercial way of working. And I was telling him, in Singapore, yes, it's very expensive to live in Singapore, but so long as we just don't go for something too expensive, we should be able to survive. But the art is very important, actually.